Hello and welcome to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. I'm Bartholomew Hall. Here are your top stories on Friday, the 25th of July. Garden of England in gridlock. Kent's rural residents say roads aren't built for summer traffic.
One every 3 months you get an accident.
The doctor will not see you now. Strikes hit Kent hospitals as Labour faces first action of administration.
It's actually quite disgusting. If they got an arthritis appointment in the hospital or anything, like physiotherapy side of things, then and they're cancelling it, it's not going to do anyone good.
And happy birthday to Hilda. Maidstone care home resident celebrates her 100th birthday.
Used to have some lovely holidays. We had a caravan, went all over the coast.
Good evening. Collisions, 20-minute delays and damage to buildings are just some of the consequences villagers in Leeds are telling us of congestion. Residents say their village near the M20 has to bear the brunt of summer traffic. And with Operation Brock in full effect as well, locals are saying the noise and delays are almost constant. Finn McDermott went down to find out more.
As the country's main route into Europe, Kent often sees plenty of summer holiday traffic. But as the motorways fill up, villages alongside them can see heavy congestion that their narrow roads simply aren't built for. Leeds, just off the M20, is one of these villages and has seen years of accidents, damage to buildings and vehicles getting stuck.
Now, Operation Brock is in effect, and even if there aren't lorries coming through, there are certainly some larger vehicles. And this is quite commonplace. I've been speaking to members of the public here and even the landlord of the George Inn, who says that it's just a constant battle.
It tends to get busier when Brock is on, because everybody gets to the junction 8 and they cut back through the village. It's the main road through, really. This is the bypass, this little road. When if the road's shut or if there's traffic jams, people tend to stay away from the area a bit because they know how busy the road is. So it can affect business, yeah.
And just before I interviewed Jason, there was a collision right outside the pub.
Not very good. That's a regular occurrence. It's probably one every 3 months you get an accident.
And officials say Operation Brock being in effect doesn't help.
It does make it worse, but to be quite honest, it's bad anyway. So yeah, you will get people that don't want to use the A20 because it's bumper to bumper. They want to get to Headcorn or they can go to Smard and places that, and they use this and use the Sutton Road. Then we have a knock-on effect on the villages around and the local roads where they get gridlocked and badly destroyed.
Simon Jones, the KMRF lead for border disruption, said the decision to put the Operation Brock barrier out is made to keep disruption for Kent residents to a minimum and always lead by on the number of passenger and freight crossings expected at the Port of Dover and Eurotunnel. Our work with central government to identify a better traffic management solution will continue, alongside our around-the-clock monitoring, so that everyone can get to where they need to be safely this summer. Leeds isn't the only area affected, with the villages of Lenham, Harrietsham and Hollingbourne also experiencing traffic that their roads simply can't handle. And whether it's the summer traffic, Operation Brock or poor infrastructure, these rural villages are crying out for some kind of solution for their streets. Finn McDermott for KMTV in Leeds.
OK, well, Finn joins us in the studio now. Operation Brock, it's every commuter's best friend, isn't it, in Kent? How long is it going to be in force for this time?
Well, we aren't quite sure is the bad news. A formal review of whether the barrier needs to stay out will happen at the first week of August. So we could see it continuing, but we don't know at this current stage. Earlier this month, they chose to deploy in a 13-mile stretch on the M20, all to improve the flow of traffic. And that decision was based off of data that was given by the Port of Dover and Eurotunnel that showed large amounts of traffic in every July weekend, as well as the fact that KCC-run schools actually finished this week on the 22nd. As for the future of Brock in general, the government have actually revealed they're working on a permanent solution to the problem of congestion, and the new system would use a combination of digital technology and off-road sites to hold HGVs during disruption.
Of course, lots of people wanting to get away for their summer holidays, maybe this weekend. What's the best advice for them?
Well, the Kent and Medway Resilience Forum said drivers should check their route before setting off, allow extra time for journeys and pack the car with essentials including food, water and medication. Well, Finn, thank you very much for bringing us those details.
Two people have been charged following a stabbing at a nightclub in Rochester. 23-year-old Lenny Smith from Chatham and a 17-year-old boy are accused of assaulting a man in his 30s at casino rooms in the town centre. Well, the teenager, who can't be named for legal reasons, was also charged with inflicting grievous bodily harm and possessing a knife in a public place. Both were due to appear before Medway Magistrates Court earlier today. The victim, a man in his 30s, was taken to hospital and has since been discharged. CCTV footage has caught the moment a fly tipper dumped garden furniture on a crossroad in Chatham. The man can be seen exiting the vehicle before running to the back, unloading the garden furniture and a wooden crate onto the side of the road. He then runs back to the front of the seat and drives off. Well, the dumping happened on the White Road estate, and the resident who captured the incident described what the man did as lazy, adding he could have simply taken it to any of the nearby rubbish tips. Well, the incident's been reported to both Medway Council and the local authority, who have been approached for comment. Hospitals across Kent have been facing disruption today as resident doctors walked out on a 5-day strike. Previously known as junior doctors, they're now demanding a 29.2% pay rise to address what they call years of wage erosion. Well, this morning, our cameras searched for picket lines at Medway Maritime Hospitals, but didn't find a single doctor there. Our reporter Gabriel Morris has been gauging the level of support for the strike.
The government promised last year to turn over a new leaf for NHS working conditions and pay. But just over a year after Labour's election win, doctors are back on strike, although nowhere to be seen here.
It's the first industrial action of its kind during Starmer's administration. Now, we don't quite know how many resident doctors have walked out today. Usually we would get an idea as a picket line forms outside Medway Maritime's hospital. But it's just gone 7:30 in the morning and there's no signs of any doctors or any picket line here.
We've asked the British Medical Association several times for an interview to explain why they're calling for a near 30% pay rise. They haven't responded to our requests. Health Secretary Wes Streeting says striking doctors have already received a 29% pay rise over the past 3 years, with a further 5.5% offer on the table. In Medway, public opinion remains divided on industrial action.
It's actually quite disgusting they're putting a doctor strike on, because people with arthritis, if they got an arthritis appointment in the hospital or anything, like physiotherapy side of things, then and they're cancelling it, it's not going to do anyone good.
I think the medical profession deserve a good wage. They do a fantastic job.
People haven't got the resources for, like they're piling all these people in and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So I think it's a bad idea. I think health should come first.
The pay rises I used to get when I was in work was something of 3 or 4%, not 20-odd%.
KMTV's health expert told us this week that maintaining public support during extended strikes is proving difficult.
Because I think going for that incredibly high amount is losing the public. And the last set of strikes we had last year, actually the public were quite supportive. It is a very difficult decision whether you're going to take industrial action, and certainly in the GP land. But at the same time, if we don't actually maintain some of the pay parity that we had before, we're not going to be able to recruit people into being junior doctors.
The message from hospital bosses is business as usual for those coming to A&E. But during previous strikes, hospitals cancelled more non-urgent appointments. This time, that's not the case, and last-minute cancellations aren't being ruled out.
If your routine appointment is in general practice, you can assume it's definitely going ahead. And if it's in hospital, unless you've heard otherwise, you can also assume it's going ahead. But I do have to say, we will not know until the day quite how many doctors will choose not to work. So I can't promise there won't be adjustments on the day.
The strike action continues until Wednesday, with the government holding firm. Kent could be in for another wave of walkouts. And is there the possibility it could inspire other public sectors to walk out? Gabriel Morris for KMTV in Medway.
Well, Gabriel's here now. Gabriel, today's industrial action, is it a sign of more strikes to come?
Well, there's 5 more days of strike action, but if we compare it to the last set of strike action during Sunak's administration, they walked out 11 times. That's because they couldn't get around the negotiating table and come up with something that they were happy with between the government and the BMA. Now, we know that Wes Streeting and the Labour administration are taking a very firm stance on this and saying there's no more room to budge, although they have given an offer of 5.5% pay rise this time. Their argument is, as you heard in my report just there, they've had a pay rise of around about 30% across the last 3 years. Public support is thinning. It sits at around about 50% according to YouGov. And this time around, we haven't seen any other public sector workers striking. But if the disagreements continue, we could still see strike action. I've been speaking to the Labour MP for Ashford. A little bit about this strike action. He says he's disappointed as a former NHS worker that the doctors have chosen to walk out today.
Wes Streeting has been clear that doctors are offered, the resident doctors are offered the highest of pay rise considering to other public sector workers. So it is disappointing to see as a previous NHS worker that doctors choosing this path when other professionals are accepting or not going to strike.
Well, Gabriel, thank you for those details. We'll be back after a very short break where we'll be talking all things Lionesses and how you can support England this weekend. Right of the screen. Choose the package that suits you with options to pay monthly or annually. Once you've signed up, check your email for a thank you message from us and details on how to get the most out of our subscription. Kent Online, news you can trust.
Hospital visits will be dramatically reduced.
And there's something about time in Imagining Autism, I call it a nowhere.
I completely adapted to being a hidden away rural homeless person. The system can't and doesn't cope with rural homelessness at all.
And I think that's a big barrier to young disabled people in terms of their aspirations and accessing science.
I think the eco-parakeet is a great symbol for what we should be doing on Mauritius, what we can do elsewhere in the world.
But this is like a picture of me and my cousins when we was in Albania back to my nan's house.
Mirë, vëmë tek me menu me menjen tonë edhe me pa momentin e dur që kur më ik edhe policisë.
The Kent Politics Show, live on KMTV. Join us every week with an array of guests.
I think the boundary changes have changed a great deal in Kent.
The Conservative administration have delivered the lowest council tax in Kent. We will continue to do that.
Discussing the things that matter most to you.
People do feel like they've been ignored by this government.
We do need something else to supplement wind and solar.
Catch the Kent Politics Show, only on KMTV.
Become a Kent Online subscriber for unlimited access to award-winning journalism from across the county. Browse the premium version of our website with no intrusive ads for uninterrupted scrolling on your desktop, mobile or tablet. Enjoy unrivaled coverage of news, sport and leisure in Kent, including content exclusive to subscribers. Read fascinating features in our in-depth section and head down memory lane by delving into our decades archive. Keep up to date with politics in Kent and Westminster and the latest on and off the field with our extensive sports coverage, including specialist Jill's reporting. Enjoy weekly digital editions of all KM titles and swipe for the same page-turning experience as the newspaper. Download, share and print out the pages you want and tackle fun puzzles such as crosswords and Sudoku. Plus, unlock our extensive archive of past papers stretching back more than 10 years. Becoming a subscriber is easy. Visit kentonline.co.uk and click the subscribe tab at the top right of the screen. Hello and welcome back to Kent Tonight, live on KMTV. Now, after a nail-biting match on Tuesday against Italy, the Lionesses will be playing in the Euros final this Sunday. Well, many in the county are looking forward to the final and supporting our very own Alessia Russo, of course. But venues across Kent are also hoping to bag some of the money it will bring them. And to give us a bit of a recap of what to expect and to tell you how you can be getting involved here in Kent this weekend, Etaly joins me on the sofa now. Etaly, it's been a nail-biting 2 matches, the quarter-finals, the semi-finals. Hopefully fans will be hoping for something a little bit less anxiety-inducing this Sunday. What's happening in Kent?
Well, all across Kent, there are a variety of different types of events happening. There are lots of pubs which are hosting ticketed screens. So what I'd recommend is that if you want to go watch at a pub, go on their website and see if you need a ticket or if you can just show up. Others are choosing a much more relaxed approach. Some people are hosting watch parties at their house from the comfort of their own home, getting family and friends, which is a really lovely way to, well, we all hope to celebrate what may be a successful final. But the Folkestone Harbour, they'll be showing the final on their big screen. We actually caught up with their marketing manager earlier to find out a bit more about what the event will entail and a bit about what the atmosphere has been like in past football match screenings.
So we'll be showing it on the harbour screen in the Goodyard. This will be the 3rd women's final we've shown in 4 years, which is great. Last time we showed the women's final, we had a queue stretching from the Goodyard up to the lighthouse, which was quite impressive. So yeah, we have a lot of demand for it down here. There's nothing like being in a crowd in a dramatic football match. It's a different atmosphere completely to the men's game. It's much more family friendly, lots of cheering, lots of clapping. And yeah, everyone's just in really high spirits, especially for a final.
And look, these events are huge for the hospitality industry across the county.
Yeah, and especially for the harbour, they have lots of independent and small businesses. So this is a great way to get your name out to a big crowd of people.
Fantastic. Etaly, well, we'll be cheering on the Lionesses and, of course, Kent's very own Alessia Russo standing on the end of that picture there this Sunday. And good luck to them. Now, don't forget, you can keep up to date with all your latest stories across the county by logging on to our website. It's kmtv.co.uk. There you can find all of our reports, including this one about a really good sport coming to Canterbury.
Canterbury Trail Park is hosting this year's Moped Mayhem Championships, and despite the thunderstorms and gloomy weather, racers drove for more than 4 hours.
So Moped Mayhem's been running since 1980-ish, so it's been a long-standing race series or event series with 5 different classes of bikes, teams of riders up to 6 within each team, and we run all over the country really. Race today was really good. Track conditions were hard because it was quite muddy. All racers had a great time, including myself. So I went out there and had a few laps. Might have done a few more than a few laps, but yeah, no. So yeah, it all went really, really well today, and I think everyone's gone home smiling. That's the most important bit.
I'm always been involved in motorbikes. Gained that from my brother, who was the sidecar team mechanic. Yeah, I love it. Everything what to involve with 2 wheels, that's me.
The owner of the venue says that the park is very important to Kent and that one of its main aims is to keep riders off the streets and out of trouble.
Started this about a year ago, so there was nowhere for anyone locally to ride. Trying to get kids and adults as well off the streets and riding in parks, and just give them somewhere safe, managed and marshalled to ride. Our off-road bikes, you're not allowed to ride them anywhere other than private land, which is very hard to find these days. So we offer cheap, safe and decent place for people to come and ride really. The nearest track's about an hour and a half away, London way, and we're the only one sort of this side of of Kent really. Obviously I ride anyway, but not these sort of bikes. They're on proper motocross bikes normally. It's been a good laugh today, certainly a good event. I'll recommend it to anyone that's got time to come either next year or to their next round really.
With all the teams taking home at least one trophy which were made out of motorbike parts, it's safe to say everyone went home happy and muddy. Kai Wei for KMTV in Canterbury.
And plenty more reports just like that one over on our website. Now though, let's take a look at what the weather has in store for the weekend. This evening, a mixture of cloudy and clear skies across the board with highs of 19 in Dartford and Medway. Into tomorrow morning, mainly cloudy skies, but the sun will be shining down in Dover with highs of 21 degrees, low winds. And tomorrow afternoon, winds picking up to 8 miles per hour, highs of 23 degrees in Canterbury. And as we go towards next week, and if you're going to be out in any of those beer gardens watching the Euros final, looks like it's going to be a cloudy one, 23 degrees, highs of 26 on Tuesday. Now, just in case you missed it, just before we came on air this morning, we had another lively episode of the Kent Politics Show. It's the show that gets politicians talking across Kent. Tonight, one of our topics was the cost of living crisis and what more local authorities can be doing to help. Here's a clip from this evening's show.
Of course, when we win the general election, we're going to ensure that when we start with a tax threshold of £20,000, that will immediately put pennies and pounds into people's pockets. Where we can make tax breaks for families and whatnot, we will do that also. You know, right now people are struggling. You know, I went to the other day, organised by Swell Borough Council in fairness, you know, but an event for charities to come together, for members of the public to come in at the Sheppey Gateway. And it's very clear from what the conversations I had that these local charities are inundated with people, whether it's to be food or other services that need to be provided for. So people are really, really struggling right now. It's our job, as not only as local authority, but to also hold the government account to ensure that people are protected. That's why I'm very worried about the idea of taxes going up, additional £40 billion come the autumn budget. So it's very scary times. You know, we have to support people where we can, and that, I believe, will only come from a Reform UK government.
Do you want You're in charge at the moment at KCC. You've got the budget there.
Yep.
You can spend it. You're identifying all this money that's being wasted. Spend it on things like reducing school bus passes, bring back community wardens, put it into community groups and charities that help people with food banks. That's what you can do. That will make.
And you can watch the full episode of the Kent Politics Show shortly after this programme comes off air this evening, or go up to our website kmtv.co.uk to watch it back on demand. Now though, a care home resident in Maidstone has just celebrated her 100th anniversary. Hilda Howes was joined by her family and friends at Lifestyle's Maplewood Court to celebrate the massive milestone, and she even had the honour of receiving a birthday card from the King and a visit from television star Dr. Carl Kennedy, known for his role in Neighbours. Well, our community reporter Henry Luck went down to Maidstone to tell us more about the celebrations.
Reaching the age of 100 isn't easy, but one woman in Maidstone has managed to do it. Hilda Howes was surrounded by her friends and family to celebrate this incredible occasion, with even the King sending his regards with a customary birthday card, adding to her collection of over 100.
Yes, my daughter and my son, both here, and lots of aunts, and all their children. It's been a wonderful day.
It's quite an amazing feat. She's the fourth one of 6 in her family to reach 100. Her sister died recently and she was 103. So they're a really quite incredible family, long livers, and it was no surprise to me that she made 100. I'm sure she's going to make 101 and possibly 102.
Speaking to the birthday woman herself, she talked about some of her fondest memories through her incredibly long life.
Used to have some lovely holidays. We had a caravan, went all over the coast and all through the countryside in Spain and across there. What else?
Having cruises?
Cruises, yes, we had some cruises as well. When it got too young to go by car, we had some good holidays, very good holidays.
But the party was just getting started, as Lifestyles Maplewood Court hosted a second one so other residents could celebrate Hilda's milestone. Hilda even had a surprise visit from TV star Dr. Carl Kennedy, known for performing in the hit show Neighbours, which proved to be the icing on the cake for this amazing celebration. So happy birthday to Hilda. One of her top tips for reaching 100 is to make sure that you and your family are happy. Henry Luck for KMTV in Maidstone.
Well, from 100 years of life to just a couple of months before we go, Kent Wildlife Park Port Lympne has announced the arrival of 2 Moreton Lynx cubs. Born to Aria and Levis back in May, the first cub emerged mid-June. Staff thought there was only one, but at the start of this month, a second cub appeared too. What a lovely sight that is. After their first health check, it's been confirmed that we've been gifted here in the county with a new boy and a new girl. Port Lympne said that they are incredibly proud of the Lynx family, adding that this is a huge moment for their conservation efforts. What a very, very cute sight. Well, you've been watching Kent Tonight live here on KMTV. Plenty more news made just for Kent throughout the evening. We'll have our late bulletin, as always, at 8 o'clock. But otherwise, we'll see you next Monday for another Kent Tonight. Bye-bye.